Hello everyone and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Tuesday to you all, my friends. I hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. Whether you're just getting up, you're in the middle of your day, or you're towards the end, I hope that you're having a really good day, a good start to your week, and that everything is just moving along smoothly, moving along well, and just kind of working out for you. You know how I just feel like the beginning of the week really sets the tone for how the week is going to go. I know that's not always true. A lot of times the end of the week can be much better than the beginning. I felt like, Monday was a really good start for me. So I'm hoping that continues on today, Tuesday, and throughout the rest of the week. But again, happy Tuesday. If you are having a hard day, I always encourage everyone to do the 5-minute reset where you take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself. It's an opportunity for you to come back to baseline, to just kind of shake it off and reset and restart your day right then and there. And you're welcome to do this as many times as you need to during the day, week, month, or year. And you have an opportunity to come and just release any burdens, any problems, any troubles that you've been carrying around that you are currently dealing with head on, and just take a little bit of a breather. It's also an opportunity for you to problem solve and deal with any issues that are just pressing you, just giving you a hard time, and then you can go ahead and deal with those and come back with a resolution the next day or the next time that you are able to deal with that problem that you're facing. Also, I always encourage everyone to make a quick list of at least 4 items that you are grateful for, and those can be really big, really small, or medium-sized things. You can be grateful for snuggles with your dog. You can be grateful for finally being able to go shopping at your favorite store that's reopened. You can be grateful for being able to actually plan a mini getaway vacation to somewhere you can drive, or maybe you're allowed to fly somewhere, whatever it may be. Or you can just be grateful that it's not raining wherever you are. I understand that. So it can be anything, and that just makes the list endless. And gratitude is such an amazing a way for you to change your perspective, to shift your mindset, and kind of focus in on more positive, uplifting things, as opposed to just focusing on all the negative, which I feel like it's really easy for us to harp on the negative as opposed to the positive. And last but not least, before you leave the 5-minute reset, I encourage you to be able to leave it feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day. And part of this is reflecting again back on your gratitude list. It'll help change your mindset. And despite what you're going through right now, you can realize that there are still amazing things happening in your life. However, I hope that this Tuesday that you're having a fantastic day. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about kindness, and today, Tuesday, we are going to talk about choosing kindness. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Let's start with the importance of choosing kindness in general. It's important to realize we do not have control over other people, but only ourselves. And in knowing that, we should take it upon ourselves to do our best to be our best selves and choose kindness as much as we can. It should be one of the things that's in the forefront of our mind to make the decision that kindness is super important on an absolute daily basis, and that it is so much easier sometimes to be kind than it is to be mean. But I understand that when you're in anger, or when someone annoys you, or when you're in pain, it's much easier to lash out in those negative feelings towards someone else, because a lot of times kindness does take strength and courage. But I feel like there are other times where kindness just can come super easily and natural, and especially if you have a good handle on your emotions and the things that you're going through. I understand if you're having difficult, uncertain times where you feel like your emotions are running rampant just a little bit. I totally understand that. I'm kind of in that season, in that little pocket of life right now. However, if you are still able to kind of get those things situated and understand what you're going through and be able to work through it and deal with it, then you will feel more in charge and in control of your emotions, and be able to distribute kindness a lot easier than if not. But yes, it's super important to just choose kindness as much as we can in our everyday lives. And we can't make anyone else be kind, but that shouldn't stop us from being kind and being a role model of kindness for others. And I spoke about being a role model for kindness yesterday, and I find that it's very important, and it's an easy thing to do, because it's not as though that you have to have an audience of people or you have to be aware of who is watching you, but just know that people probably are watching you. And honestly, I do feel like when we kind of feel like other people's eyes are on us, we do act a little bit better because we do want to be a positive role model. I understand that's not true in all situations and for all people, but I would say in general, yes. And so I think that we should it doesn't have to be something that's in the forefront of your mind to be a role model, but just understand that other people are taking note and maybe following in your example, depending upon who you are in your community or who you surround yourself with. But just know that it's important for us to make an effort to be a role model and practice kindness as much as we can, even if we, and don't feel like you have to force someone else to be kind. They have to make that just their own choice by themselves on their own, but just continue to practice kindness towards them and for them, or at them rather, not for them, at them. Because you could definitely influence them at some point later down the line to be kind because you were kind to them. And one of the hardest moments to choose kindness is after someone has wronged you. It's in these moments that we all want to that all we want to do is retaliate back with anger, meanness, or a way to cause them pain. But it's in these moments that we need to choose the high road and be strong enough to rise above them projecting their pain on you. Do not do the same to them. I find that it can be super easy for us to lash out or lash back out at other people when they have hurt us, when they have wronged us, when they're not being kind to us, because it's kind of like you're mirroring the actions that they're giving to you. Your brain is like, oh my goodness, like this is what is the expectation. I'm just going to give it right back, and even more so, full force, when actually we need to be able to take a step back. We need to be able to take a breather and realize that we do not have to mirror their actions. We don't have to react the same way. We can react in a totally different way that is, number one, unexpected to them. Absolutely. I was even I was actually on Instagram stories, and someone had reposted a video of a gentleman talking about how he was in a store and there was someone coming at him for the kind of mask that he was wearing. And honestly, if that's where we are in life right now, I don't understand. That lady is definitely projecting her own issues at this gentleman. However, so the basic point of the video was that if someone comes at you and they're just trying to attack you in any sort of way, whether it's really aggressive or passive or whatever it is, to just answer them with silence, because they are not expecting that. They're expecting you to retaliate. They're getting ready. A lot of times when people are trying to bully you or come at you, they're expecting you to retaliate, and then they either know that they're going to be able to take you down even easier after you react that way, or they just like to kind of rile you up and get you all in a tizzy. However, if you decide to react with kindness or just not say anything at all because you just can't figure out what to do in the moment and just react with silence, it's going to be super unexpected. It'll also prevent you from doing anything that you may regret or saying anything that you may regret, and it'll just keep you calm and realize that it's not really worth your energy. Like, anytime, I've been trying to practice this, but it's been very difficult. Anytime I'm faced with a situation where it might cause me to be very emotional, very stressed, to release a lot of anger or meanness or just want to lash out, I've been trying really hard to ask myself if this situation really warrants as much emotion, as much stress, as much whatever it is I'm feeling at that moment. Does it really deserve this? Is it really gonna help things get better? Is it really gonna help me in the long run? Is it beneficial to me? So I encourage you to do that too. Ask yourself, is this really worth it? Is it worth it to spend my time and energy and emotions into this issue right now? And I feel like most times you'll probably say no, and there are gonna definitely be times where you don't even get to that point. You just jump to anger or meanness, and you'll have to take a step back and ask for forgiveness or do whatever you need to do to make the situation right. But yeah, I just encourage you to realize that, kindness will definitely be super, super hard for you to choose in the moments where people are attacking you or wronging you. But it's important that we need to try to give kindness back and just be nice, or just don't say anything at all if it's really hard for you to, give kindness in that moment, and know that that is the better choice. You're being the bigger person and you are modeling kindness again. Now, let's mention a few other ways we can choose kindness on the regular. Try to practice empathy. Try your best to understand that everyone has feelings and has the right to those feelings. And if you can, go a step further and try to understand what someone may be going through and how that could feel for them. Being empathetic can cause you to be more kind naturally because you're taking the time to understand what they are dealing with and how tough that could be to manage. And I understand that not everyone has the ability to be empathetic all the time. I personally am empath. I definitely feel like I'm empathetic too much sometimes, and you might be like, well, how is that too much? And I kind of take on too many people's emotions at once, and I just feel drained in the end, and I don't even know what I'm feeling at the end if I just take on too much. However, it is important to still practice empathy in a balanced way to really understand what someone's going through. And that's such an easy way to demonstrate kindness to someone because you're actually trying to tap into what they're feeling, what they're going through, how that might feel if it were affecting you that way, and to really take on those emotions so that you can kind of sit with them in their pain and understand that what they're going through is really hard. And that's such a kind thing to do. And also empathy can include not necessarily giving advice, not trying to lead them in a certain direction, just again, like I said, sitting with them in their pain and understanding that they are going through something really tough. They appreciate you being there and just being present for them in whatever they're going through. So I encourage you to try to practice more empathy as a way to choose kindness. Be quicker to forgive. I know that forgiveness can be a really tough thing for people, especially if you have been wronged a lot, but it's important to practice forgiveness for others as much as possible. I know it's going to be tough. I know. Forgiveness releases both the forgiver and the forgiven from the act. It'll just feel so good. And I don't want you to rush into forgiveness if you need time to process what has happened, but do not hold grudges or take too much time to forgive, as this just leaves the whole experience hanging over everyone's heads. And part of forgiving someone is to understand what you are forgiving them for, try your best to empathize with them, move on from the experience and live more in the present. Let go of expectations and learn from the experience. Remember that forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. I definitely wanted to make that point because a lot of people will assume that if you are going to forgive someone that you are going to forget that they did it. That is not true. A lot of times, especially if they really, really, truly wronged you, but you have decided to make the decision to forgive them of the wrong, you're not going to forget because you're definitely going to be on guard a little bit more, but not too much. You want to make sure there's a balance there, but you're going to understand that you have red flags now, that if they do try to, if you feel like they're going down that road again, it might put a red flag up, and you might want to, take a step forward to ask them and figure out what's going on to kind of anticipate if they're walking down the same road again. I'm not saying that you need to be super hyper aware or anything like that, just more like aware in general, because again, you decided to forgive them and you're just like going to let it go, but you're not going to forget, and you're going to realize that if they do it again, it might be a lot harder for you to forgive them. And even then, you can still forgive someone, but you can, dismiss them from your life because it might just cause you a lot of stress, anxiety, depression, and pain to have them in your life on the regular. So totally understandable. But yeah, forgiveness is so hard. It used to be the thing that was like the hardest for me. And even still, I have a hard time forgiving people because I am so obsessed with justice and there being a right and the wrong and people having to endure pain for their wrongs. And I have a problem with my mindset of thinking that if I forgive someone, that they aren't going to suffer like I am suffering from the wrong that they did to me, when I need to always remind myself that I am not the judge and jury of anyone or everyone. And I just need to realize that they will be judged for their wrongs at the appropriate time. And I don't mean that like super like darkly. I just mean that like, God's in charge and, he's going to do what he's going to do. And that's just not my job. And I need to realize that I will be so much happier and better if I just let it go. And if they continue to, come against me and hurt me and try to cause me pain, then yes, I might need to just cut them out of my life. And that's just how things go. I definitely have done that with some people in my life, and it's made my life a lot better. And sometimes it's just the way it is. But yeah, so I would encourage you to try to be quicker to forgive. Don't hold grudges. Don't make the pain last longer than it needs to. And just realize that there's a quick way to being able to forgive someone. Again, it's to understand what you're forgiving them for. Try to empathize with them. That might be really hard if they've hurt you so badly, but kind of take a step back, change the perspective, and think about what they are going through or what they did from their point of view, and empathize with how they're feeling and what they did, and then move on. Just move on, let it go, live more in the present. Don't let it hang over your head. Let go of any expectations of how they should act now or what they're going to do going forward. Like I said, you can kind of be aware of what's going on, but don't have expectations of what they're going to be, because even though they may have said they're going to change, they might not change, or they might only change slightly and not how you would want them to change. You know what I mean? And learn and just learn from the experience, and just know you don't have to forget, just forgive. Be more generous. Being generous is naturally showing kindness. I feel like that everyone understands that. This could include helping someone when they need help, holding the door open, giving a meaningful compliment, or offering support. And an amazing quote I saw was, kindness begins as a thought and ends as an action. And unfortunately, when I saw this quote, it wasn't attributed to anyone. So if you know who that is, then that's who that is. I'm not claiming that quote at all whatsoever. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Again, kindness begins as a thought and ends as an action, because when you do kindness, like we're talking about today, you have to choose kindness. So it starts as a thought and then it molds into whatever action it may be. And we're going to talk more about actions as the week goes on. And another benefit of being kind is imagining the unknown ripple effect it can have on the world, which is something that I spoke about yesterday as well. Being a role model for kindness, and just continuing to practice kindness as much as you can in your everyday life. You do not know how it will affect someone down the road. Like I said, you could give someone a smile and they could have been on their way to try to hurt themselves or, commit suicide. You just don't know that those smiles or that kindness can really change someone. Or maybe you just, complimented someone and made them feel so good, and they decided to, stop binge eating or stop purging and just, kind of clean up their way of eating and become stronger and realize how amazing they are and how other people feel the same. You don't know, and you might, maybe you'll go out of your way to help someone. Like if they drop everything all over the ground and no one stops to help them, and you stop to help them pick everything up, they might have a new view of how people in the world are actually nice when they had this negative view of no one's helping them. Or maybe they're new to the city and they asked people for directions and everyone ignored them, but you decided to speak with them and let them know where they need to go. They just they're like, oh, okay, there's actually kind people in this new place that I've moved to. All of these opportunities to exhibit kindness and not realize how it just trickles down into so many different people in different communities, and how it can just really make an effect that you may never know about, probably. But I would just keep a positive mindset and know that your kindness is affecting so many people, and to keep doing it and do it for that reason and do it because it's the right thing to do. But yeah, it's so amazing. I would just try your hardest to be more generous and just find even the littlest of ways to be kind and choose kindness. And let me end with mentioning that choosing kindness can just start with a smile, as I mentioned. And if that's all you can manage right now, that's totally fine. You got to start where you are, not where you want to be. You got to, take baby steps sometimes. And again, try to be kind despite others not being kind to you. This is not the whole like you don't need to mirror the experience or the actions that they're throwing at you every single time, especially if it's anger or being mean or some sort of negative emotions and things at you, negative actions towards you. But yeah, try to be kind despite how they're treating you. Also do your best to accept others' differences, because we were all made differently on purpose, so we can come together and be a united community with everyone having their special gifts and skills and traits to help each other out. Be more tolerant of others. Understand that not everyone may be at the same level as you, know the same things, grew up the same way, have the same abilities, and make the same amount of money, and understand the same type of things, and have the same kind of opportunities, or whatever it may be. Understand and be tolerant of how others are different, how others may be handicapped versus you being more able, and whatever it may be. Also, offer help as much as you can to people that you know or that you don't know. Kind of step out of your comfort zone and understand that even the littlest offer of, hey, do you need me to do this or that for you? Or even, can I pray for you? Or do you need someone to talk to about this thing? Can be like the best way to show kindness and offer help. Also, be supportive and try to avoid any unnecessary conflicts. And this is a hard one for me, because a lot of times I will jump right into a fight because I just get so feisty, and I forget to ask myself, is this really worth your time and energy? And your life will be so much more easy breezy if you are able to avoid any unnecessary conflicts, not try to pick fights with people, take a step back, change your mindset and perspective. If someone is trying to come at you, come back at them with kindness or silence, and do your best to continue along your own journey, as opposed to trying to engage with people that are really just trying to throw their pain back at you, because they don't know any better and they don't understand how to face and deal with their pain head on, which can be one of the hardest things you can do. Believe me, I've been there. So okay, guys, well, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you know someone else that would really enjoy it, I encourage you to share it with them. Thank you so much for all your love and your support, and for listening to the show, sharing the show, talking about the show. If you do that, I so appreciate it. Just kind of like gaining more downloads and listens, and I really, really appreciate that. You guys are amazing, and I get so much joy in seeing that it's reaching more people and hopefully benefiting so many more people. Have an amazing Tuesday. I hope you come back and listen to the rest of the episodes this week talking about kindness. But until then, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.